Hello, and welcome to another episode of Medusa's Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Greg. Sorry about the delay, but today we're going to be making the Medusa cheesecake. We've had a lot of requests for this one, so we're going to get right at it. What I've got melting on the stove right now is 4 ounces of unsalted butter, and I turn that off halfway because I don't want it really hot. Also, what I've got on the stove is 4 cups of frozen blueberries with a half a cup of sugar. No water, no wine, nothing else in there. Maybe just a little squeeze of lemon juice I can put in there. And that's it. I've got a couple of tablespoons of arrowroot mixed with 2 ounces of water that I've got here. And we'll be adding that to our blueberries once that comes to a boil. So to make our crust, I've got 2 packages of graham here. It's going to equal about 3 cups of graham cracker crumbs. Now, what made the cheesecake special at Medusa was I made it thick. I put it in a deep pan, so we're using a deep 9-inch pie plate. It's got 2.5 inches on it, and that's how tall my pan was at the restaurant for this cheesecake. Also, this is an icebox cheesecake. It's not a cheesecake that you can make and then set outside or even on the dinner table until the end when you're ready to eat it, because there really isn't. If you had this cheesecake at the restaurant and remember it, it was delicious. It stood up nice and high. It was creamy. It had a nice light mousse texture, and that was because when we got an order for it, we took it right out of the refrigerator. We cut the piece. We put it on a cold plate, hit it with whipped cream, mint leaf, and a little gooseneck of blueberry sauce, and out to the table it went. Didn't sit out. Went right from the refrigerator right to the table. So remember, when you're making this cheesecake, this is not something that you're going to want to set out for a display. You're going to want to present it at the table when you're ready to eat it. Okay, so I've got my 2 packages of graham, half a cup of light brown sugar. I'm going to add 1 stick of unsalted butter, which is 4 ounces. And I'm going to put a teaspoon of some really nice cinnamon in there. I really like the Vietnam cinnamon. It has a really great flavor, but any cinnamon here will work. And then we're going to puree this. Till the butter is mixed in. You might have to scrape down the sides once. That little touch of cinnamon just gives this crust a little something extra. And you want to make sure that butter is well blended in here. Now, if you're going to make this cheesecake, this recipe is 1/3 of what I used to make at the restaurant. I wouldn't go any smaller than this one because you're just not going to get the thickness of it. But you certainly can. You can put these in individual tartlet pans, however you want to make it. But this is the cheesecake recipe, and I'm trying to make it as close as I can. Now I'm putting these crumbs, and I've got about a half a cup of extra crumb. What I do is with my fingers, I want to get this evenly divided before I start patting it in. And then I use my 1 cup measure. You can use a jar, anything that has a flat bottom. And you want to go around and create yourself a nice 1/2 inch border. And as I'm pushing on the crumbs to the side of the plate, I got my thumb here to stop it so I don't get too thin. And I'm sealing off the top of that rim of this graham cracker because we want it to come up the sides of the plate here. So, but it's important that you pack this in here nice, otherwise it's just going to crumble up on you. Now this has to go into a 350-degree oven for about 10 minutes, and we have to pre-bake this. If we don't, the crust is going to be very powdery and crumbly. If we bake it, it'll set and it'll be nice, so when you do cut it, it'll all stick together. Now the girls, my 3 girls, this recipe developed back when they were much younger. They say, "Dad, we want cheesecake tonight." And it's like, well, it takes a day to make it, and then refrigerate it, and then it needs 6 hours, and da 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 da. And they were like, "Well, we want cheesecake tonight." So I developed this no-bake cheesecake, and it came out so good that we ended up selling it at the restaurant, and the rest is history. So I'm going to stick this in the oven for about 10 minutes until it gets nice and golden, and then we're going to finish up this filling, fill our pie plate, and we'll have Medusa cheesecake. So